The Big Ten released its fiscal year payouts for its conference members as it brought in a record $1.37 billion in the 2024-2025 fiscal year, distributed to its 18 members, with Ohio State and Penn State taking the lion's share. Let's talk about what this means for college football and how this rates compared to the other big old power conference in college football, the SEC. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on the step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. How do you feel about Ohio State and Penn State receiving the most amount of the $1.37 billion windfall that Tony Petitti's Big Ten brought in? The Buckeyes, who won the 2024 national championship and hence should receive the most of any of the members. But we're talking about Penn State also as a semifinalist in that year, receiving $88, $90, $89 million for what it was able to do. Not bad, not too shabby, especially as you had to turn over the head coach the following year and the staff. But I think you're in a great spot with Matt Campbell, and we'll have more to say about that later on. But more importantly, you got even Washington making $46.7 million here. And that's with, not as much as other full members of the Big Ten Conference. Oregon received $48.4 million. And the shares for the other conference members that include legacies like Purdue receive anywhere from $76.01 million to $79.87 million. That's not too shabby. Now, the revenue sharing cap is at 20.5, but you still need to pay out your coaches. You still need to pay your operating budget. And when you think about just how much bigger the pie is going to get if you extend the college football playoff to 16 or 24 teams, this is an enormous number. And this was a number that was talked about when this deal was first done, where the Big Ten would be splitting itself between between CBS, NBC, and Fox, right? With Fox having a stake in the Big Ten network, among other things. But also, this is at a time when the Big Ten has usurped the SEC as the dominant college football conference in America, with 3 consecutive national champions and 3 different members. Even Kirby Smart has said, I got a tremendous amount of respect for them up there because they seem to just be out coaching us. It was first Nick Saban saying they pay more than anybody else. Now you got the best SEC coach available coaching today saying things like, you 100% deserve to be called the best in America. You don't know it, but in some movie magic here, I just learned my goddaughter made National Junior Honor Society, and I got to be a proud godfather for a second there. That's kind of cool, right? I think that's even more cool than getting paid $1.37 billion for your television rights. I really do. But the Big Ten folks probably won't agree with me. Now, how does that compare to the SEC? Well, they brought in $1 billion, so it wasn't that big a difference when you talk about billions, but $370,000 is still quite a bit, right? Like that's what, a running back coach today, perhaps? Maybe that is your second string running back even. It's kind of amazing to think about the money is ballooning this way, as we're also talking about like things like OpenAI might go to market an IPO that's going to try to get to $1 trillion, depending on how this trial with Elon Musk and Sam Altman goes for the soul of AI, as they say. But even so, like the price of brick continues to go up for all of us. I don't know about y'all, but like gas prices out here kicking everybody's ass. And I say that because, believe it or not, gas prices being $3.99 here in Tulsa, Oklahoma is highway robbery. Astronomical. The rent is too damn high. Meanwhile, some of y'all be living in these major metropolitan cities. Better get y'all a bicycle. But the Big Ten, they over here like, no. We buying V8s over here, homie. Hide the money. It's poor people out, y'all. Like, that's what the Big Ten out here doing. I expect that Indiana will bring in closer to 95, $99 million, might be the first to hit the $100 million mark, given what they were able to do in the conference just last year. And not for nothing, we highlighted this during the college football playoff, but this will be a note that I hit pretty often. Indiana just activated the largest living alumni base in the entire country at more than 800,000 people. More than 800,000 people have graduated from an Indiana something, right? Undergrad, master's, law, something. They got a reason to care about Hoosiers football in a way that they never had a reason to care about Hoosiers football. It's been basketball or bust for them for so long. Now Indiana is the dominant football program in the state of Indiana, and that includes Notre Dame. Think about that. And think about how much even $5 from half those donors might do for you, right? If you could activate 500,000 folks out of that 800,000, you've just probably doubled your stadium, if nothing else. You're going to get stadium renovations. You're going to have more games on national television. And it doesn't look like Kurt Signetti is turning down anything but his collar in his terms of, I'm turning the screws to everybody. He has come out and said, we turned down everything but the Indy 500. We are focused on this team. And I think he needs to be, because he's bringing in more transfers than he's ever had at Indiana. He's got a new quarterback for the third consecutive year. He's already had to chew Nick Marsh's ass for wearing gold cleats to practice. Yikes. It's wide receiver 2 energy, my guy. But Charlie Becker's probably always going to be wide receiver 1. And you got to turn over the backfield. You turn over most of your defense. You're replacing all Americans all the way around. There's a lot there. Meanwhile, Ohio State is not backing down. They're breathing down your neck. In fact, Michigan feels like it can come back and bite somebody in the behind. Gary Patterson is coaching the defense over at USC. Matt Campbell's coaching the whole damn team over at Penn State. Iowa is always tough. Minnesota might be up a creek, though. Drake Lindsay got popped for DUI and a fake ID in his hometown of Fayetteville, Arkansas. You know how bad it's got to be for you when you get popped for both those things in your hometown? Minnesota might need some help. They might need some help. Oregon, Dante Moore might be number 1 overall pick according to Mel Kiper. Washington got a Damon Williams who reminds me of Kyler friggin' Murray, and I wrote as much last year. Save the little transfer portal debacle. That dude can spin it and he can move, and the only people able to put him on the ground was like Ohio State, man. They got dudes out there. Purdue is the only win you're getting here. Illinois can play. Maryland is going to be all right. They can play. You know, Rutgers, they can play. They're not a doormat. They're not great. They're not a doormat anymore. Like I said, it's just Purdue. Don't let Purdue figure it out, because the money just looks like it's going to continue to go up in that conference year after year.